listening to Wake Up and Read the Labels, your guide to eating simple and feeling good. If you want to eat clean and feel your best, guess what? You're in the right place. Each week, we talk about ingredients that may be holding you back from feeling your best. We also talk to some brands that are going against the grain and actually using real ingredients we can recognize. Plus, we're sharing stories with people who are just like you, who actually woke up and read the labels. Welcome to Wake Up and Read the Labels podcast. Today, we're going to talk about one special ingredient that can help your food be a little more anti-inflammatory, and it's something that can be used all day. Throw it on your yogurt, you can throw it into your water. We're going to dive into all those things today. I am welcoming Shakira Niazi to the podcast, who's the founder of Zen Basil. And I know, Shakira, you also, I hear you in the background, you're like, my sons are helping me. So this is a mother-son duo?
That's it. Yeah. My son, Emron, who's 29, who's my co-founder. He's been in this journey with me because we both, well, actually, he was my initial motivation. You know, as moms, we're always looking for a better way for them. And he was born with asthma that just went on and on and on with antibiotics, steroids, flare-ups. And I never realized it was lack of nutrients that his body was screaming for. For over 2 decades, I struggled with that. So long story short, yes, it's a family-owned business. Both of my boys are involved, not only Emron, but also my second, I have 2 boys. So 27-year-old Sobhan, who's my recipe developer.
Oh my gosh.
He never cooked or made anything in the kitchen all throughout college, in fact. But now he's just loving this whole concept of understanding what is anti-inflammatory, because, obviously we dive deep into it. And now that's all we live and breathe is real food versus stuff that makes you sick, basically.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to let my kids listen to this. Kids, Jude and Luke, there may come a time that you're helping me with a company as well, and we're producing things. Have they always been conscious about what they eat?
No, of course, I had no idea. We grew up on Pop-Tarts and cereal and so I'm originally from Afghanistan. I was born there. I'm one of those that refugeed into, we're incredibly grateful when we as immigrants arrive in US. We're like, oh my God, this is the place to be. So whatever life. That was, because it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm incredibly grateful that we had this chance, because had it not been this opportunity, who knows where I would be. You probably have seen some images of what happens to people that stay behind in Afghanistan. But long story short, 40 years ago, I landed in this land of opportunity and went on to embrace the delicious, McDonald's and everything that was Western and Pop-Tarts and cereal and busy mom, working mom. And what do? You just, you just follow the norm. Everything was norm. I mean, like I said, my son was born with asthma, but we would go to his pediatrics and no one talked about nutrient. No one talked about wake up and read the label.
No, especially at the doctor, huh? Mind blowing.
Yeah, here's a prescription. Oh, he has asthma. Here's a nebulizer. He's going to flare up. He has antibiotics. Oh, the nebulizer doesn't work. You need steroid. His little 2-year-old body was on some form of antibiotics every other month for 2 decades.
Wow.
I am knowing what I know now about our microbiome and what antibiotics does. I am beyond grateful that he's not developed into a major illness. So, of course, it was like I had to dive deep for my own health, mind you, 5 years ago, before I got into Zen Basil and really understanding health and wellness. I was obese myself, 45 pounds heavier than what I am today. struggling with menopause. And of course I go to doctors because my low energy, and what do they say? Oh, your thyroid's so broken. Here's a medication for life. You're not losing weight. Well, welcome to menopause. This is what happens. Our metabolic health is going to deteriorate. It's normal. They tell you it's normal.
Well, the norm for Americans is just to feel freaking tired and overweight and inflamed.
And I thought I was the only one. And now, like, after I've been diving much, much deeper into this whole space and how I ended up with Zen Basil, I realized that no, I'm not alone. 70% of women are struggling with that same 20 pound that turns to be 25 and 30. And before you know it, you're in this obesity category, and now you're inflamed, and now you're low energy. And then people tell you, well, join a membership or whatever gym. And it's like, I don't have energy. Right, you're broken inside. Like this whole, I know you're supposed to work out, but I don't have the strength. And without fixing the nutrient or the lack of nutrient your body's screaming for, your weight management's not going to happen. No, your metabolism is not broken because you hit your late 40s or whatever. Your body has given up because you were deprived from basic nutrients like fiber your entire life, and you basically ran on empty. So crazy. Long story short, that's how Zen Basil came about.
Okay. So I do want to know, what was your secret and how did you come to a solution? But you said Zen Basil. For everyone listening, give them a brief overview of what Zen Basil is.
So Zen Basil is first to market with the concept that basil seeds are for eating, which was unheard of in the U.S. market before I launched Zen Basil. So I'm originally, like I said, from Afghanistan. So this powerful nutrient has been in our culture for literally over 1,000 years.
Are you wanting to eat better, but this clean eating thing's just a bit overwhelming? Maybe you just don't know what to cook, or you don't know how to find the clean product swaps at the grocery store. Well, I want to make this simple for you. You can get clean swaps and an anti-inflammatory recipe delivered to your inbox every Saturday by going to thelabelletter.com.
So was this first discovery of I want to do something with a basil seed? Did you try chia seed, flax seed? Hemp seeds? There's all kinds of seeds, right? Why a basil
when
seed?
I first saw chia in the market, I thought it was basil seed because there's so much confusion. They both look alike. They are little black seeds that hydrates in liquid and water. So I thought those were basil seeds. But then as I was searching deep into why am I basically not my thyroid medication keeps increasing and I'm still low in energy, and I'm discovering plant paradox and understanding the food system and the lack of nutrients and the importance of fiber. Mm-hmm. And as I'm understanding the health and wellness space and diving deep and deep and deep, that's when I realized, no, chia is not basil seed. Chia has nothing to do with basil seed. Basil seed is something that was popular in the natural healers. It is actually something that has been embraced through Chinese medicine and throughout time, literally originally from Afghanistan. It's a native of my culture, and that's why I was more intrigued to it. The natural healers in my culture, which, back 1,000 years ago, they were the foundation of medicine. This gentleman named Ibn Sina, which is the godfather of medicine 1,000 years ago, that happened to be from the same villages of where my parents come from. Some of his book talked about the importance of gut health and parasites that basil seed can get rid of. And I'm like, wait, what? So basil seed is not chia? That's how I'm diving deep into the root of what did they say? Once I figured out that our traditional medical system is not looking for nutrient and not advising us on how to get to the root cause of our disorders and health and chronic disease, whether it's asthma or allergies or diabetes. No one's talking about nutrients. They're just giving me a medication. And I'm thinking, okay, then what is the nutrient that I need? So obviously the important ones are the fiber, which I had no idea fiber was so important. I had no idea that Basil seed has nearly 2 times the fiber as chia and 2 times the calcium, 2 times the iron, 2 times the potassium. So these are like key nutrients that not only strengthens the gut health, but also hydration in terms of a lot of times when people tell you that you're dehydrated, they give you your typical electrolyte or Gatorade or vitamin water, whatever it is that the marketing packages have sold us what electrolytes are, when in reality, it's nutrients from real, clean, whole food that happens to be rich in these nutrients. So as I'm diving into this whole, like, this is a journey of 10 years of trying to figure out first my son, then my own health. And then the worst part is my mother's health, which I wish I knew you 20 years ago. I wish I had the wake up call 20 years ago. My mom is in her 70s and she's completely not mobile. So, she just, COVID hit and, you know, like she's been on medication and from cholesterol to diabetes to, you know, the bucket of medication that she's been on from the finest, you know, we're in Northern California. So access to Stanford Medical School and a Stanford hospital treating her. And yet she's in a hospice care for the past 4 years. That part is the part that actually, well, it's heartbreaking to witness something like that, especially for your mother, but it gives me even more motivation to be aligned with someone like yourself, who's waking up people and saying, this is not about weight management. This is not about prediabetes that, you know, obviously 50% of us are impacted with, and 80% of us, including me, didn't know I was diabetic, because they don't measure and they don't test it properly. Long story short, everything happens for a reason, and witnessing my mom is the biggest motivation why I go out of my way to make sure people are hopefully, you know, getting their wake up call before they're in that situation where nothing could be done. Even good food, clean food is not going to reverse that level of.
And what a lot of people don't realize as well is, like you're saying, all the benefits the basil seed provides. Well, people think it's like it's a pill. They're like, oh, okay, you know, if I take a little bit of basil seeds, it's going to give me what I need. And it's like, no, food is very short-lived in your body. It's powerful, but it's short-lived. And so if you put nutrients in your body needs to continuously have those nutrients. That's why clean eating is so important. And that's why it should be done from sun up to sundown. Whereas the opposite way goes as well. It's like this little bit of inflammation going on in your body. The problem is you're constantly feeding your body inflammation with all these weird ingredients, no nutrition. And that's when your body, you know, it's taking a toll on your health. So I know each bag comes with a decent amount of basil seeds. What is the recommendations for these basil seeds? What should people be doing? So it's basically,
I have
and how often?
I don't know if this is going to be recorded on video or recording, but there's a simple recipe in the back. When I talk about 3 words, clean whole foods, it's really simple. Clean meaning chemically free farming practices, which means glyphosate-free, other 250 different chemicals that's usually used to do 95% of our food system is non-organic, which means we're spraying the seed itself with stuff that you don't want. So long story short, 1 serving gives you over 50% of your daily fiber needs. That's 15 grams of complete fiber. That's clean fiber. And it comes in its whole form. And that's the reason why I didn't process this nutrient. It's like the seed that's already built with its prebiotic that feeds your own natural body's probiotic. It has minerals like calcium, potassium, magnesium, manganese, which is something that us women really need, especially to balance off our hormones and thyroids. And that's another nutrient nobody talks about. Magnesium that 50% of us are deficient on. Obviously, fiber, the biggest elephant in the room. 95% of us and me including prior to understanding the importance of fiber, are deficient in. And fiber is the most important nutrient for our metabolic health. So when your metabolic health is impacted, everything is basically broken inside. And then they label it like you have diabetes, you have cholesterol, but it's really at the cellular level, and it's the metabolic level that is taking a toll. So, once like I said, backtrack, this journey went on for 10 years. 5 years ago, like I said, when I realized, no, chia is not basil seed. Basil seed is something that is completely forgotten and not even spoken about in the Western culture. So we're first to market with that idea. But prior to even launching, I did a lot of testing and verification from different farmers, and the soil matters and the quality of farming matters. If it's, sprayed with glyphosate, obviously the nutritional value is compromised. So it took me about 5 years to establish this nutritional profile, which is exclusive to Zen Basil. So not all basil seed have the same nutritional profile, but I wanted to bring the most healing version of the seed to the market, and which hugely made a difference in my own body, my family's health. But now we have thousands of people that are really understanding, so I was sensitive to lectins, and these seeds are not lectin, based, and so it's lectin free. And obviously it's gluten free. It's chemically engineered or chemically sprayed free, which all makes a difference. So the quality of the nutrient is, in that perspective of like, okay, if you've experienced chia, and perhaps you probably felt the lectins or not felt the lectins. Some people are heavily sensitive, like my son who has asthma. I had no idea for 2 decades. We were just going to the traditional system, getting medication. I had no idea he was lectin sensitive. So he's sensitive to tomatoes, for example. He's more, so I have 2 boys. One is more sensitive to lectins and one is less. Not everyone is created equal from the same mom. And so he is, basil seed has been a huge contribution to his health, his metabolic health. And just focusing on simple, clean, whole food. Zen Basil is one of kind of an addition to your everyday, but it's not going to be your magical pill. There is no such thing. That's the main thing that I try to convey to, a lot of times we're looking for that super fast pill, powder, supplement. When I first got into this space, I was introduced, how you get into the health and wellness and you're bombarded with supplements, here's a package, here's this and here's that. And I just subscribed to a lot of that. And my takeaway was that, well, first of all, it's not accessible. It's not, usually the supplement. If I would have made these seeds, which didn't even exist, in the market, the first thing that people sort of do with brand new ideas is make it into a supplement. I could have created this into 5 different supplements, extract the prebiotics by itself, extract the minerals and make an electrolyte package by itself. All of that packaging wouldn't have made it accessible, and I wouldn't have been able to reach thousands of people that have now made, they're literally like, if you go to Amazon, you'll see the amount of, and that part is just, it's not just my own health, but what I'm hearing from my own community. How they literally say, I can't live without them. Like if they're late one day, we get like.
So how are they consuming these? Are they just straight up eating them out of the spoon? What are they doing? And what is a serving? How many tablespoons?
So 2 tablespoons makes a delicious pudding. So in this package, which is a recipe in the back of my label, it's 2 tablespoons and basil seed, hydrated in milk of choice or just water. Add yogurt and leave it in the fridge, or it hydrates in 5 minutes. And then you top it with your favorite, whatever fruit or honey or maple syrup. And you got yourself a complete meal that's fiber rich, protein rich, prebiotic, probiotic from yogurt. And now you have all the micronutrients, calcium, potassium, magnesium, manganese, polyphenols. Those are the antioxidants that our bodies need in order to power up and rejuvenate into new cells. And the production of postbiotic that really requires those antioxidants like polyphenols, flavonoids that Zen Basil is rich in, that does so much more. So a lot of times, like I said, supplements take these extraction terminologies and like say, for example, prebiotic is so, like fixed for all, but prebiotic is in real food, which Zen Basil seed is. Real, clean food that happens to be rich in those nutrients that our body needs, that strengthens your immune system, that gut health, as you know, is everything. And gut health translates to.
Yeah. So what's the difference between a basil seed and
basil leaf is that delicious aroma that we love in our pastas.
Yeah,
exactly.
we make pesto.
That beautiful, nutritious plant basil, which is a sweet basil, that the same basil that we make our pestos, the delicious green leaf. That plant, it's like the beautiful nature's way of continuously giving you. It makes a little purple flower, and that purple flower makes the seed, and that little seed that you plant back into nature and makes another plant. But those little seeds are also jam-packed with this nutrition that we just talked about in basil. So each little seed that comes out of the purple flower is the seeds that you collect that otherwise would be literally like thrown away, because people, and especially in California, or in US, we're the only USDA organic integrity database verifiable edible organic basil seed. So prior to Zen Basil, such thing didn't even exist. And like when I first started going around talking about basil seeds are for eating, and people are like, the same seeds that you plant and you get yes, the same seeds.
So that's a lot of basil plants,
but
in that
all
one bag,
that basil, yes, it is a lot of basil seeds in that plant. But these particular seeds are, we have the basil plant. We use a lot of basil in the world. I mean, just think about all the basil that we're making pestos and, just having on a regular basis. All that seed used to be just not used. They were trash. They didn't know what to do with them. It was excessive. So it's literally using the same seed that we were not using, but nobody knew that these seeds were concentrated with all that nutrient that geminize into the basil plant. But the seed itself is basically something that in the natural healers, this was part of medicine. So the more I understood how medicine used to be practiced over 100 years ago, before pharma, we used real plants, herbs, seeds, real nature-made ingredients, and use it as medicine. So,
okay, so tell me, this excites me because I know how many people are hyper-focused on electrolytes, because anywhere you look, right, you're looking at waters have electrolytes, you got the flavored drinks at the sporting events, they're electrolytes. And so people, unfortunately, they're being misled by the marketing companies at the grocery store, and they're putting awful electrolytes in their bodies. And I know you guys have a hydrate
line.
Line.
Well,
so
first,
tell us
love
about
the fact that you educate your community, and of course, they're familiar with all these synthetic stuff that shows up as good for you and healthy and labeling and marketing. I was a victim of all that. So when my son was dehydrated, the pediatrics like, oh, you need electrolyte. What was I sold? Smart water, Gatorade, Pedialyte, literally recommended by my pediatrics.
Yeah. Well, the doctor does not know. I tell people it's
not
really not his
Absolutely.
fault. He has no time. He hasn't been educated. He doesn't know the power of food. He or she, they truly
because
do
I
not
love
know.
the fact that recently Dr. Casey Mean published a book really bringing a lot of that, what you just said, to light. Good energy, highly recommended. I love the fact that she spoke about not only the power of basil seed, but she specifically spoke about Zen Basil Seed. No partnership. I had no idea she was going to talk about it in the book. And now it's a New York Times bestseller list. Highly recommend this book because they really break down the missing part of what is missing from our healthcare system, which is nutrient from food, real food, basic food, clean food. And so anyways, that's another story. But to answer your question, yes, electrolyte has been marketed as this magical thing that you go buy from over the counter stuff. And like I said, those big brands, Coke and Pepsi, Nestle controls everything that's on that shelf of electrolyte market. So it's the same soda companies that create your electrolyte and your sports drink. I think right now the number one brand is called Prime. It's the same formula. It's natural flavors, it's sugar, and it's synthetic nutrients. And that's your combination of electrolytes. So the terminology electrolyte is simply calcium, potassium, magnesium, sometimes a couple of other nutrients. But the truth is, your body needs those nutrients that you can obtain from real whole food. And that's what these seeds are rich in. So my electrolyte formula is flavored with things like matcha or, ginger and lemon and real food ingredients. And of course, the seeds are the powerhouse of the nutrient, which is the calcium, potassium, magnesium, iron, polyphenols, and fiber, which you need in order to hydrate at the cellular level. There is no way our bodies could obtain adequate hydration if you have leaky gut, for example. Like they sell you this packaged version of what electrolyte is. Nobody talks about leaky gut, which obviously like if you have leaky gut, even those synthetic nutrients is not reaching you at the cellular level. It's just getting into losing its value. So
I love it. Clean hydration. Okay. Shakira, did we discuss a code for people to get a discount?
No, we didn't, but I do have
do
a
that?
10% Zen 10, simple to remember, that they can try. Yeah.
Okay.
What I love about you is the fact that there's no partnership for anyone who's listening. This is why I only select to make these type of organic, there's so much, like, I don't know if you heard about this controversy of the so-called marketing paid and discount code. For anyone who's listening to Jen, this is real. This is organic. She is genuine. There's no paid partnership here. That's why we're not talking about discount code. But yes, there is a discount code that I give Zen 10 for anyone who's listening, so they can
Zen
try
10.
10%
Perfect.
discount.
Okay, and we'll have it all linked at zenbasil.com?
Yes.
All right, perfect. That will be linked. Your Instagram will be linked. Use Zen 10. Try it out. I've tried all of them personally, and I think they all taste amazing.
I'm going to show you if this is going to be a recording of what they look like. So basically, little black seeds, and when you hydrate it in water, I mean, you don't really need to do much to it in terms of, I'm going to show you how quickly this hydrates, literally in probably 3 minutes. So usually chia, for example, a lot of times people are hydrating chia and it takes about 20 minutes. Here, you can make this pudding in 5 minutes. My whole mission was to make, you know how like they sell you convenience, and that's why we have cereals and Pop-Tarts and all these other processed food, because we don't have time. I mean, you can still make a complete clean meal for your family in a matter of 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Right. Well, there's people out there eating yogurt, fruit, and granola every day, but they're getting their great value granola because it says it has a lot of protein, but really it's covered in sunflower oil and a bunch of synthetic vitamins and ingredients they can't pronounce, and these awful yogurts with dead probiotics in them. And so I love to tell people, like, what I'm here to do is basically inform you and make you aware that you can do the same steps. You can literally grab your yogurt out the fridge, just open it and put the same fruit on top. You're just, doing granola, but this is clean granola, clean yogurt, and then adding in something like the Zen Basil helps you get way more nutrients in your day, makes it a lot more anti-inflammatory, and you get to see the benefits of it.
This is electrolytes, by the way. They sell you synthetic nutrients and then package it with sugar and things like citric acid and things like natural flavor, which nothing is natural about that thing. And
nothing. And you know what I tell people? It's like, listen, the norm of America is drinking Prime. They're drinking Gatorade. They're drinking Pedialyte. And like, look at norm America. Like, we have a problem. Autoimmune is on the rise. Obesity. There's some stat out there, like 77% of teenagers are unfit for the military. Like, we have a problem. This is a big problem.
Have fatty liver disease today, which is a alcoholic disease in the past. So 50% of us are diabetic. One of the things that people need to remember, and again, 95% of us are missing bare minimum of fiber in our food. Fiber, a lot of times, again, marketing has given us this illusion that fiber comes in some kind of a powder, or fiber comes in some kind of a supplement. It's an old people thing, right? But the truth of the matter is, fiber is not only your digestive health, fiber is what cleanses your body from toxins. Yes, your children needs fiber a lot more than, it's not an old people. Like I used to think fiber is something that you need when you're like super old. Little did I know. And I'm, mind you, it's like, it's just so sad how we're not educated in nutrition in our schools. Yeah.
We're not.
So, even as an educated mom, I had no idea the importance of fiber. Fiber is what controls your glucose level, or actually balances your glucose.
Absolutely.
So this whole diabetes issue, how is this like not linked? 95% of
it's lack of fiber.
The best thing, the one thing that we can just simply wrap up is the lack of fiber. 95% of us are missing bare minimum of fiber in our daily life, and 93% of us are not metabolically healthy. Wouldn't that make sense that they're somehow connected? Just a guess.
For sure. Yeah. No, I tell, hey, you guys, everyone listening, like, this is the education of food. This is the education of what to eat and what to do and how to get healthy. Because guess what? If you're waiting on society to help you, it's just not going to. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to tell my kids, you should eat this or you should eat that. I'm like, if you don't teach them, society's going to teach them the wrong way.
Well, you said it beautifully. And this is why I emphasize your authenticity and organic mission in this space, because this is what happens normally to all the brands that essentially are so popular and our kids are so addicted to. A brand like myself would go out and raise millions of dollars from the VCs, who are basically an extension of the big business in terms of big food. We're talking about Coke, Pepsi, Nestle that controls 90% of our hydration market. By the way, the same individuals, including Big Pharma, controls our supplement industry. So we got to remember who's the player. When someone like myself come up with this idea, these big VCs get behind that brand. And then what they do is not only they fund the product, essentially manipulate or modify it and process it to a point where it tailors their mission, their long-term agenda. And now that brand is all over the place, like literally brands like Prime or brands like Vitamin Water and Gatorade, they come from nowhere. And the next thing, they're worth $5 billion, $10 billion is where actually Prime is worth over $10 billion. And yet this product has so much nutrient from whole food and real ingredient, and nobody has, like, barely anyone has heard of it, because I refuse to become another one of those packaged food that.
Yeah. Well, and America's addicted to bad food. I mean, they really are. They're addicted to the natural
what I'm
flavors.
Trying to say is I've witnessed the marketing when every single celebrity and athlete and top health and wellness influencer is pushing this product as good for you. Their trusted community believe that. Nobody understands this whole marketing strategy of VC money that's pushing and paying the influencers to push the product that really has no difference. Like if you look them apart, like you've done this really well, there's not much difference. It's the same ingredients, remarketed, repackaged. If you go from Pedialyte to Gatorade to vitamin water to Prime,
same thing.
This journey is 20 years of marketing and funding. And the punchline is if you really dive deep, it's the same set of investors that recreated the same product, rebranded it, brought in new marketing personalities, and you thought it's a new idea, but it's really the same thing. And our kids are addicted to it because by design, they create their most secret formula, which is the natural flavor. That term is designed to get you to be hooked on that particular flavor that never existed in nature. And that's really their proprietary ingredient. It's not the nutrient. It's not the hydration. It's getting the community to be hooked on that particular flavor. And that's why they use citric acid, which is a byproduct of black mold, versus citric acid from lemon, for example.
Yeah. So everybody go out and find Zen Basil. That's the cure all. I love it. Shakira, I gotta run. You've been amazing.
You are.
I appreciate it. Everybody check out Zen Basil on social media, and also remember to use Zen10 to try it out and see what difference you notice. Thank you, Shakira. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you so much for doing everything that you're doing. I appreciate you so much.
You're kind. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Wake Up and Read the Labels. If you like this episode, guess what? We want you to share it. We'd love that. Share it with a friend and leave us a review. You can subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or really wherever you're listening to your podcast. For more information, visit us at wakeupandreadthelabels.com.